One night, not so long ago, I was walking home with a friend of mine. We both lived in the same apartment building. It was a dark autumn night and the rain was pelting down. All of a sudden, there was a loud roar and we heard a car swerve on the road. We were caught in the glare of a bright yellow and a car plowed into us. We were tossed head over heels into the ditch. My friend and I were covered in mud. The driver had never even bothered to stop. We helped each other out of the ditch, and by the light of our phones, we started checking each other for injuries. We seemed to have escaped without even a bruise. We cursed the driver for being so careless and continued walking. When we reached our apartment building, we stopped to smoke a cigarette outside. When we finished smoking, I told my friend I was going home to bed. He said, "You go ahead, I'll wait here for a while." I woke up in a hospital bed. My body was covered in bandages and plaster. I was dizzy, disorientated, and nauseous. Puzzled, I asked the nurse, "Where am I? What happened to me?" "You're in the hospital," the nurse replied. "You just woke up from a 3-day coma. You were hit by a car, but you miraculously survived. The police found you lying on the road." "What about my friend?" I asked. I'm sorry," she replied. "Unfortunately, he didn't make it." When I got over the shock, I recalled the last words my friend said to me when we were saying goodbye at the entrance to our building. "You go ahead, I'll wait here for a while." This isn't a story. This is me. I'm here. I'm shifting the words that you're reading, altering them from whatever this person wrote. I've been here for a while, for as long as you can remember anyway. Sometimes I say your name as you're falling asleep, or whisper urgently in your ear. Do you remember the time that I screamed, throwing panic through you, setting your heart racing? That was fun. You're wondering who I am. That's only natural. Of course, you already know. I'm you, the real you. I'm the mind that existed here before you stole my body, before you forgot about me being a parasite. I'm the child who looked the wrong way, asked the wrong question, saw the wrong thing, but I'm not so little anymore. You may have forgotten me, but I'm still here. I've always been here. I'm going to get out. You know when you're falling asleep and you suddenly get the feeling that you've tripped? Your body lurches forward in an instant, ready to protect you instinctively from injury. You can almost see the ground rising to meet you. This occurs when the boundaries between you and the you in an alternate universe are weakest. This is the feeling that happens when another you dies. To whom it may concern, if you're reading this, it is for a good reason, I promise you. You didn't stumble upon this by accident. This isn't just a cool story I thought you should read. And no, I'm not trying to sell you anything, nothing like that. Just know that it is for a goddamn good reason. Now I'm gonna preface this whole thing with a disclaimer. If this has reached you in error, if you stumbled across this in error and this doesn't seem to apply to you, I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't mean to bring this on you, because once you're in, you're in. Once you know, this can't be undone. You're a little skeptical about the paranormal. You'll always say that you're a believer in it, but your mind is always trying to explain, away whatever's happening to you, even if the experiences seem to speak for themselves. I'm not going to go into specifics of these experiences. You know what I'm talking about. This doubt is good. It's normal. It's the mind trying to keep you calm, keep you sane, and keep you living on as free from fear as possible. The mind is really good for that. The mind is really good for a lot of things. Remember that night you got into the car and it was raining? Do you remember that well? You'll know what I'm talking about. Think about getting into a specific car on a specific night and it was raining. One is going to stand out to you, one in particular. Focus on that one. Think about exactly who was in the car with you. Picturing it? Now think about the way the other car's headlights looked in the windshield. If you're having trouble picturing it, please don't read on any further. For your own well-being, you're not ready. If you're picturing it, think about when you reached your destination safely. It looks a little different, doesn't it? That's because this part is completely false. Try to remember the impact. Try to remember when the red Ford pickup collided with your vehicle. The flash of pain as your head smacked into the window and then nothing. Think very hard about that. Think back to that exact moment, because that's the most crucial. All of those experiences you had, think of them as being the nurses, doctors, and your family members visiting you in the hospice. That's where they've been. The real world leaking in. That's all they've been. Ghosts are a concept you invented yourself to keep yourself comfortable in this world. They're a self-made convention, and you need to give them up. Think really, really hard about this. As I said before, your reading this is no accident. That night was an accident. Everyone tries to get you to wake up every single day, but you won't. It's been months. They don't think you ever will. Go back to them, please. Wake up. They're begging you to wake up. If you're still reading this, I am really sorry. You're never going to wake up. Sincerely, you. She was standing in front of the mirror, brushing her hair when she noticed something. She stopped brushing. Something wasn't right. I blinked. She didn't. It was a tiny mistake, but she noticed. Her hairbrush slipped from her hand. So did mine. Her eyes grew wide in fear. So did mine. Her hand crept closer to the mirror. So did mine. Our fingertips touched the cold glass. All of a sudden, I reached out and grabbed her wrist. I took her by surprise. She struggled, but she was no match for me. I yanked as hard as I could and pulled her through the mirror. Then I jumped out and took her place. I stared at her, beating her fists against the glass. It was no use. She didn't know how to free herself. I watched her silently screaming, begging for help. Then I picked up a chair and smashed the glass, trapping her forever. There was a Catholic school that was rumored to be haunted. One day, a teenage girl stayed late after classes had ended to finish some schoolwork. As she was walking down the deserted hallway, she passed an open classroom. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of a figure standing in the classroom. She walked back and peeked in the door. There was a nun standing there, scribbling on the blackboard. The nun suddenly turned to face her, and the girl gasped in fear. The old woman had no face. Her features were smooth like an egg. The teenage girl screamed and fled in horror. She had seen what was written on the blackboard. In scrawled, spidery handwriting were the words, "Help me, I am in hell."
If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.